Welcome to the After the License podcast, the podcast where we help real estate agents build their business. I'm excited to have Jayme and Ryan on today. We've been going back and forth for I think a couple weeks, and excited to have you guys on officially because I've been following you guys on social media and a couple young realtors here in my home state of Arizona that are killing it. So I wanted to talk through kind of what's working for them and their business, and kind of advice they have for all you guys watching as new real estate agents. So Ryan or Jayme, whoever wants to start off, can you tell me a little bit about why you guys got into real estate? Like, what was the draw and how long have you guys been doing it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So basically, we are both, I'm 19, she's 20. So really, we got into this right after high school. So, in senior year, we were kind of looking at colleges. We didn't have any idea what we really wanted to do. I was looking at film. She was going to go undecided, and we ended up deciding to go into real estate because of my family. My stepmom was actually in real estate, and at that time when we were in our senior year, she was about 4 years into it. So we got to see what she'd built in 4 years. And we were kind of comparing the difference between going to college or, getting started with a career, and we ended up choosing real estate. So with that said, about a year and a half, 2 years into it.
That's so great. And so no college in your background at this point, just straight into real estate, it sounds like?
Yeah, nothing, just straight out of high school.
We went to like a community college for like high schoolers. They went to get started for get college credits. We went there. He went for like graphic design, and I went as an EMR. So we started there, and then after that, we didn't go to like an actual college. But
yeah,
honestly, I love it. So my background, I followed a similar path. I'm quite a bit older than you guys, but I started when I was 18. So back in 2008, and it was the same thing. So I got a real estate job actually my senior year in high school, and was an assistant and saw this guy build his business, and was signed up for ASU and got my dorm room assignment, and told my parents I wasn't going to go, and I was going to go into real estate full time. So we're walking in similar paths, and I love that. And you watched, someone in your family kind of build a real estate business. What drew you to it? Was it the fact that, you could kind of build what you wanted to build? Was it freedom? Was it the financial perks if you have success? Was there one thing in particular? Was it all of it kind of wrapped up into one?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I mean, everyone thinks that, you got to go to college, you become a doctor, you have a specific path that you're going to go. And I thought it was pretty crazy being able to see someone make six figures with not using a degree. When you think of that, you think of trade skills and stuff like that, which is never my thing. But, doing something like selling houses never really crossed my mind. But it was really the flexibility and the income. It's crazy the potential there is.
Yeah, I love that. Is it same for you, Jayme, or was there something in particular that kind of drew you to real estate, or was Ryan the big influencer there?
It was actually crazy because like when he wanted to go to communications for college, I sat down and I was like, I saw his stepmom. Like, I actually never met her. Like, I met her at graduation. That's when I met her. But he used to talk about her all the time. And I was like, all right, like, what about real estate? And he goes, okay, let's do it. As I was a kid, like, I used to live in Colorado, and I wasn't like balling in money. Like, my family wasn't balling in money or anything. I kind of just was like, okay, what do I do? Like, we were like low income family. So I was like, okay, how can I afford college at that point? So I was like, let's just try it. I was like, what risk do I have to lose?
And I think that's a great mindset. I think, especially people who are watching this and are maybe in high school or 18 or senior year or thinking about college, for me, and this sounds like you had a similar thought process. I was like, if this doesn't work out, I can always go back to college in a year or 2 years, right? Like, you can make college the backup plan. I think so often people rush into it, and the communications degree, I mean, whatever the degree is, I had friends that ended up getting a degree, and whatever their degree is, they're not using it in their actual day-to-day life, right? And so kind of get to weigh these things and figure it out. So I think it's so great that you guys kind of decided and pushed forward and started down this path. So let's start to talk about kind of your business. So you've been doing it a year and a half. Do you want to tell us like how many closings you've had? Like, maybe just start there. And how quickly did those closings come? Did you have some business right away, or did it take a couple months? How did that work out for you guys?
So last year we each closed one house total. First full year in real estate. Well, I got started November 2019, so my full year is 2020. She got started March 2020, so she is right in the middle of it. So we both closed one house. For her, I think she got it right after getting licensed, like May 2020. It took me till April, so about 4 months after getting licensed. Going into 2021, we had one deal in the beginning of the year, and then after April, we've had 5 in escrow at any given time since then. We're at 15 closed and pending this year. So
That's
yeah,
that's fantastic. Congrats. Yeah, it seems like it has that exponential curve a little bit, right? It always starts off a little slow. And why don't we talk through some of those first initial deals? Because I think that's where a lot of new agents struggle. They get started. It doesn't matter what people tell them. I tell new agents all the time, it might take you 6 months to get your first deal. Where did those first deals come from for you guys? Was it family, friends, neighbors? Was it an open house? Do you guys remember what those first deals, where those leads came from?
Oh my
For
gosh,
me, it was an
mine.
open house.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. You can go ahead and talk about yours. Yours more
Okay,
interesting.
so mine was actually on Facebook. You know, when
Yeah.
somebody posts and then it gets like 120 comments, like referring realtors. I was actually like the top 3. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to message this person. I'm going to see like what they actually need. And I'm going to provide that value. So I provided like so much value for this person that they're like, okay, I'm going to use her. And most agents nowadays, especially with how the market is, they don't do like buyer consults anymore. So they kind of, because they're so worried about the market, so they kind of just like throw it in. So like, kind of like what Ryan said, I was kind of in the middle of it. So I kind of was like, I'm going to pump my brakes for a minute and actually like provide value.
Yeah.
I
And
love
when
that as a lesson.
Yeah, my first deal came from an open house actually. It was a little more unique. I ended up driving around the neighborhood, setting up signs, and I saw a for sale by owner sign. I ended up calling the owner, and I really just asked him if I could bring a buyer because I had so many buyers coming through the open house. And I ended up building a relationship with him. I was allowed to hold an open house for him, even though I didn't represent him. So as an unrepresented, held an open house. And another realtor came through the open house, and she wanted to buy the home for herself. So she ended up asking me to represent the seller, and she waived her commission. So I ended up getting my first deal. I just took a listing and I wanted a contract right away. So it was really unique, but it worked out well.
You guys both have unique stories, and that's great. And
Yeah.
that's how real estate works, right? There's no
Yeah.
one size fits all, And so those first couple deals, I mean, there's obviously a lot of work that happens before those deals actually happen, right? Did you guys try out a bunch of different lead generation sources, or Ryan, had you been doing a bunch of open houses and that was the first one that a deal really came from? Can you guys maybe talk through that? Because I think, again, some people don't realize how much work it takes before the first things start to pop, right? Like, did you try a bunch of stuff out and then these things just happen to stick?
Yeah, we tried everything. I think when we first started, we started role playing. We started hitting the phones, getting cold calling. We have door knocking because that was around that January, February. So, the weather is great. And then really settled into open houses. We were doing about 4 to 6 a month or so. So about 1 or 2 a weekend. And we were just hitting it. And we really stopped after, summer when it's way too hot to get into that. But we were trying every lead generation method we could. We were posting on Facebook, door knocking, cold calling, open houses, and we really just dipped our feet in everything. And we ended up finding what we liked more. I really knew from the get-go I didn't like cold calling. That wasn't going to be my thing. I don't know if I'll ever incorporate it into my business, to be honest. And I think that's, it's hard to accept that, but not everyone is built for that. And we just decided to double down on what we're good at. So I don't know if you have any different experience, Jayme. What you found that you liked?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I guess it's like the same thing because we're always together, so we always do everything together. So I feel like it's the same thing. Like even when I wasn't even an agent, I was with Ryan doing the open houses, having that experience. Like not speaking to people, but watching what he does when I wasn't licensed because you can't really talk about real estate. But So yeah, I would say about the same.
That's great. And what your guys' thought process is on cold calling. I'm the same way. It was never my thing. It drives me nuts. And I think as we progress in society, right? It's like, for me personally, I don't pick up the phone unless I know the phone number, right? So I think as a society, we're moving away from that stuff. And so I'm with you. I'm on board with the no cold calling. If no one could cold call ever again, I think it'd be a better world. But
Yeah.
that's great. So you guys, what is the lead generation source now that's been a big part of your business? Is it open houses that's kind of fueled this exponential growth, or is there one lead generation source that's led you to kind of 5 pendings at any given time at this point?
It's all been Facebook. I mean, there's been about 10% of it that was referrals from, other agents or other people, but almost everything has been Facebook, and that's been our main focus these last 6 to 8 months.
Like, I would definitely say, like, not only Facebook, just having connections, going out, talking to people, wear your shirt with your logo on it, wear a shirt that says "Ask Me About Real Estate." Like, we went to John the Juice, and the cashier saw Ryan's shirt that said "Ask Me About Real Estate." And he goes, "So what about real estate?" So everybody likes to joke about, like, your shirt, or like if you're standing in a line at like a food truck, just turn around and they can't really. I mean, if they make you nervous, they're just gonna walk away from you. So just literally talk any given time, have connections with other agents, and just stuff like that. Like, I got a last referral, and I just built a connection from her, and she goes, "Hey, like, do you want a referral? I don't work that area as much." And I was like, "Yeah, like, I'll take it."
Yeah. And it's funny, actually, we were talking about our buddy Jonathan. He was on this podcast earlier. He talked about that too, where he ended up getting a couple referrals, I think, from other agents, just building a good relationship and being a resource and being helpful to other agents in the office. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. So you guys mentioned Facebook's a big driver for you guys right now. Is there something in particular you guys are doing? And I saw, and I'm a big fan of kind of the Facebook buy sell group that I think you guys kind of sponsor and manage now. I'd love to talk through that. Is that the primary driver? Is that the kind of primary Facebook piece, or are you guys doing other stuff on Facebook too that's having success?
Yeah, it's been mainly Facebook groups and Facebook Marketplace, and it's really just throwing ads out. But we've really focused on not throwing ads and listings like every other realtor does on Facebook that end up spamming the feed that people hate to see. Honestly, every ad that a realtor throws out on Facebook these days, almost all of them get like 0 likes, 1 like, 2 likes, because it's just not interesting. So we've really focused on throwing out different kinds of things, trying to be out of the box. We ended up doing a sign that mentioned, is we're by the side of the road. We're not homeless. We're just trying to find a home for our buyers, and kind of just laughing about the market. And I know we've thrown like photos like that on Facebook groups, and I ended up getting seller leads from it. There's someone who reached out to me, and he's like, "Hey, I thought that was really funny," and he's like, "Hey, I might actually want to sell my house." So really just posting stuff in Facebook groups, but being more an active member of the community instead of just someone here to throw out market updates sort of thing.
I'd say definitely be active. Not only just like market updates or like an ad, just be active on your Facebook page. Just post every day. Like, if you're at a coffee shop, take a picture of your coffee and be like, "Hey, like, guys, I'm at this local coffee shop. You should check it out." Just be more active. And honestly, even though people are not liking your stuff, they're going to see it no matter what. So I feel like the more you're active, they're going to recognize you. Like, we were doing a showing at an open house, and a realtor, she goes, "Oh, you guys are the closing couple? Like, I've seen you guys so much on Facebook." So definitely be active.
That's great advice. That's great advice. And I love you guys' creative images that you guys have posted. I've seen a bunch of them. And so I think it's great. So that's fantastic. The buy sell group, can you guys talk on that a little bit? And correct me if I'm wrong, right? I'm a part of a buy sell group that I see your guys' face. Do you guys now sponsor that group? Did you purchase that group? Did you start that group? What does that look like?
So I ended up really just building a relationship with the owner of it. So I ended up just messaging people that own groups. And that guy, for one group in particular here in the Valley, he ended up mentioning that he was incarcerated for the last 4 years. So he was away. He never had access to it. And I think a lot of these Facebook groups are really just abandoned. They don't manage them. They're too much to handle. So I really just started messaging people. I wasn't really with the intent to buying them, but I ended up just compensating and be like, hey, let me take it over. And yeah, I started out as just helping him out as a moderator and worked my way up to becoming an admin. And then I ended up being like, hey, just let me own the group. So yeah, just building a relationship with the people that have the groups.
That's great. And I've talked about that in some of these videos and some of the masterminds I do is, being active in groups in your local community, I think is so powerful. And it sounds like you guys do that. But then some people, they live in a small town or they live in a city and they're like, well, my group doesn't, my city doesn't have these groups. I'm like, great, build it, right? Or figure out a different group. And as long as you can stay engaged and as long as you guys provide value, it's a useful resource for people. So how are you guys incorporating that buy sell group now? I know you guys are posting occasionally kind of your stuff and then kind of engaging with those people. Are you guys doing anything else with that buy sell group?
Honestly, I think a lot of it has just been brand awareness. I don't know if there's been anything I can specifically attribute to like this one came from this group. It's mainly just been throwing posts out and getting eyeballs on it. I think having as much of a reach as possible has just played into it. I think we've really tried just to grab any group we can, talk to owners of groups, see if anyone's tired of running it. And I think that a big part of it has been just throwing out our generic posts. We would post, hey, who wants to become a homeowner? Hey, who's, looking to sell their house? And we'll just get comments. And although they're negative, positive, whatever they are, I remember there's one post we threw out and it's like, it's crazy how much homes are appraising for these days, who's interested in selling their home. And there's a lot of people that are naysayers, be like, oh, what are you going to buy? What are you going to do? This and that. I just answer them honestly. And I ended up getting some seller leads from that. I was like, well, yes, it is a crazy time to buy, but it might make sense for some. So really just having the reach has helped us a lot. But even before we owned the Facebook groups, we were still doing the same thing, even in other people's groups. So I don't think that there's a barrier to entry with that.
And so many people are so worried. They're like, oh, well, if I like put out posts on like other people's groups or try to engage with other people, they're going to kick me out of the group. And I'm like, well, there's tons of other groups to join or create your own group. That way you could kick people out too. So it's like, it really depends. Like, start small, start with your community. Just be like, oh, this is like small community neighborhood, or put your street name and neighborhood after it or something. And start with your neighborhood and do like a little farm with your neighborhood. And I'm sure they're going to invite other people in. So.
Great advice. Great advice. Are you guys still doing open houses or is it primarily kind of Facebook advertising and word of mouth at this point that's kind of causing your business to grow?
It's primarily Facebook and word of mouth. I think that we haven't done an open house in about maybe 2 months, if I'm being honest. And it kind of, we really enjoy doing them. Still want to probably get back to it at some point, but we've just kind of made a business decision to double down on what's working. So we haven't really focused on it.
We actually have done an open house. I don't think it was 2 months ago. I think it was, but I definitely do recommend open houses for newer agents. But if they're not really like able to talk to other people, then maybe not. But I definitely say like get your scripts down, or definitely just start talking to people at like stores and get that conversation down before you do open houses.
Yeah. And I think open houses, and to your point, Jayme, like I think open houses are great to practice some of those conversations. I think, agents are, especially if they're brand new, they want a deal so bad, but then they're worried because they haven't had any of these real estate conversations. It's like, what do I say when someone wants to buy or when they want to sell or when they ask about a house? And it's like, if you're doing open houses, even if it's just the neighbors walking through, you're at least talking to them about the neighborhood, and you're talking to them about the house, you're talking about them, the buying process. Even if none of them buy anything, you're kind of still getting, it's almost like script practicing with strangers kind of, you know what I mean? So I agree. I think open houses can be so powerful. So you guys are younger, and I remember when I was licensed at 18, there was, and this wasn't on my list of questions, so you're gonna have to forgive me, but when I was 18, one of the questions I got was, have you bought a house? And I was like, well, no, I haven't. Right. And so, and there's also maybe some self-doubt and some fear of like, I'm really young. Like, are people going to trust me? Are people going to, feel good about me representing them in this transaction? And, those are things I think young agents are either scared of or have to work through. Like, have any of those thoughts or fears kind of bubbled up? Or have you guys gotten any clients that have said anything about your age that you have good comebacks to, or anything along those lines?
Oh my gosh. Well, I definitely
Absolutely.
look
I
way
think
younger.
especially when we first started out.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think when we first started out, that was honestly a huge fear, and we honestly let it help hold us back a little bit. We were worried about door knocking, about open houses, and I think really open houses, they worked a little bit. We got one deal out of it, but I think that they weren't as effective for how many we were doing last year. I think a big part of it was just getting past that first year in real estate. Once we were past the first year, going into 2021, we've been so confident we know our stuff. We're not these new agents anymore. And I think it's really just getting past that hump. You got to get out there and do it. And once you get past it, it doesn't really matter how old you are. There was one client that asked us 3 months ago or so, and we just flat out told her our age, which is something that most people will just be like, don't tell them how old you are. Dodge the question. But told her, I'm 19, she's 20, and she loved it because we knew her stuff, and we'd already provided so much value that she was working with us no matter what. So I don't know if we had any per se like come back or anything like that, but we got the question, and we just worked our way around it as best we could and just provided value. And honestly, they didn't really mind.
Yeah, you were honest about it. Yeah, go ahead, Jayme.
Sorry. Yeah. I would definitely say like what Ryan said, because like when she asked me directly, because obviously I look way younger, and like I'm like only 5'2". Thankfully we're on a video call because she can't see how high or how tall I am. But she asked me, and I told her, and she goes, oh, okay. But before I even like did the video call, like I always tell people, I'm like, provide the value, even if you're young. Like you took the classes, you know your stuff. Like, yes, it's like an overload to take those classes. You have so much in your brain, but if you educated yourself well enough, they're going to be able to trust you. Especially if you provided that value, they're going to be able to trust you.
I think it really did help us be, and it really helped us be confident when we dressed up, to be honest, too. It kind of sucks in Arizona, but I remember that, Jayme would wear dresses for every buyer's presentation, and I'd wear, dress suit and dress shirt and stuff like that.
So you're saying dressing up, you feel like helped you, or have you guys since moved away from that? I missed that last piece there.
I think it really helped us with our confidence during our buyer presentations getting started. We always try to dress the part when we get started. I think nowadays, we know our stuff enough, and we feel confident enough in our value and our expertise that we don't really worry about it. We're pretty casual these days, but especially getting started, we tried to always wear dress shirts and dresses and so on.
At least like when I first meet them, I dress up a little bit more. But after it, like if I'm comfortable with them, I get their vibe, and I'm like, okay, I can relax a little bit. Like it's not that serious. I'm just opening a door for them for right now. Like it's fine.
Yeah. And you're right, though. I mean, it's all about the value, right? And so, and I, you mentioned that you feel like it held you back, your age or your thoughts about your age held you back in the first year. And I know it held me back in my career, right? Because we're talking to people, and I was nervous about it. And I was more nervous about it than they even thought about it. And a lot of times it doesn't come up if you're knowledgeable and you know the stuff, right? And so I tell new agents all the time, if you're worried about it, read the contract, read it every day, right? Until you know it like the back of your hand. Go preview homes. Like you don't have to have a buyer to go look at homes. You can just schedule it and go tour the homes and get to know the neighborhood, get to know, what homes sell for, and do your research, and you'll become more knowledgeable, and people won't worry about your age if they feel like you know what you're talking about. So I love that you guys kind of powered through that and now having a ton of success, because it really doesn't, your age doesn't matter in this industry. And so I think it's great. It's all these mental hurdles. And for us, it might've been age when we started out, but for other people, there's probably an agent out there who's 70 who feels like he's too old to sell real estate, right? So we all have our own weird little things. So That's great. Any other advice you guys have for new agents, someone who's thinking about getting their license, or maybe they just got their license and starting out, like any other pieces of advice that you guys have, or things that you wish someone had told you when you started?
Sorry, I'll go. So when, like you said, like be active on Facebook, and or what we talked about earlier is like be active on Facebook. Like even if you schedule that showing and you don't have a buyer, post it on social media, take a video, like just be like, act like you're showing a buyer. Like, yes, other agents would be like, you didn't sell that house, or take a video of the open house, be like, hey guys, like I'm at this open house, like just pretend like it's your listing. Like I'm sure the listing agent's fine. You can ask them if you can promote yourself. They're not going to care as long as they get a buyer for the house. But what I did last time is I would pretend that I'm showing a buyer, and like the people on my page, my sphere, my like the Facebook page, they're like, oh, like you're so busy. And I'm like, especially when I first started out, they're like, oh, you're so busy. I'm like, yeah, it's just myself talking to myself. So it's like, look busy, like other people are not going to care. Other agents they're not going to buy a house from you. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
I think my advice, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ryan. No, go ahead.
I think my advice would be personally, I think a big part of it was joining a team for us. I think every agent should not go into the solo, to be honest. I don't think it makes any sense to get started as a solo agent. So we've been on teams since we started, and we're on a team now. And I think that's been a huge help for us, just having other people to go to. And I think another big part of it was, I think I had a huge fear personally last year of wanting to look busy. So I think a lot of it is I really stayed away from being on Facebook as much as I probably should have been from the get-go. So I always, nowadays I can sit down for 2 hours and get a lot of work done on Facebook, and that's working for me. That's my prospecting, is messaging people, posting, going in groups and stuff like that. That's my work right now. Whereas last year, it didn't feel like work just sitting there and being on Facebook. So I felt like I had to go do something else, like go door knock, go do an open house. But really what's been the biggest thing for me has been Facebook. It's what works for me. It's what I'm good at. So, you don't have to worry about appearances. Just do what works for you. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. So I love both those pieces, right? And Jayme, I really like, so we want to kind of, I think, especially when you're brand new, I think it's good to kind of appear busy to the public. It's, hey, we're out showing houses and we are doing real estate related activity. I think, especially for people who are going to market to their sphere of influence and their database, like people who know us and they know we're brand new, it might take them a little while for them to trust us to actually sell a house because they know we're brand new. But if we can show them, hey, I'm out, I'm doing stuff, I'm active in real estate, I think that's really powerful. I had Lauren McGaffin on. She's a friend of mine actually here in Phoenix as well. And she would pick a listing every week and promote it as like a Lauren's loving listing, right? But it was someone else's listing. But people think it's her house that she's listing, right? And so it's exactly what you said, Jayme. It's like people assume things. They assume she's really busy. But she's just taking a listing, asking for permission, and going out and promoting it. And then Ryan, it sounds like you kind of had some fears. Like I'm the same way, right? It's like when you're a business owner, you kind of have to figure out what makes sense for your day. And sometimes we seem busy, but we realize we're not getting stuff done. And then sometimes we're getting stuff done, but it feels like we're not seeming busy enough. And so it's one of the challenges of being a business owner is you have to figure out what does that balance look like? And only as the business owner, right? Like, are you being productive on Facebook or not? Right. And if you are, that's, you're killing it. Right. And I think some people struggle with the opposite is they get on Facebook and they call it work. And then they end up getting distracted in some other groups, right? And so it's one of those things. Sometimes no one can help you with that except for you and kind of your own business. So I think that's fantastic. Last question. I mean, do you guys have any books or podcasts or routine that you feel like have helped you or helped your productivity at all, or anything along those lines?
Being totally honest, I don't think that we've been huge into books or podcasts before. We're kind of just now starting to get into it. There's been a few investment podcasts and stuff like that. I personally do. I watch a lot of Graham Stephan on YouTube. I know that he talks a lot about our real estate market, but I don't really, partaken too much of the real estate YouTuber and stuff just yet. I'm starting to get into it now.
When I first started, I used to watch, like for the real estate school, I used to watch Hogan. And I used to watch his videos on like the real estate school. And then I used to watch like other realtors in different markets, like how they started and stuff like that. I used to watch those all the time. And then there's actually one of our clients, he said that he used to be a motivated speaker. So he has like podcasts and we used to listen to those. I don't know if you ever heard of like the 75 hard, but I feel like that helped us a lot. Just like not only like stay motivated for our like well-being, but for our business too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you run your own business, you realize it's all kind of connected, right? It's, your health and how well you sleep and all of that fun stuff. And so, and, it sounds like you guys have relied heavily on your teams too, to kind of provide some of that education and some of that guidance.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you guys have felt like that's been a huge piece of kind of learning and having the success that you have, is having a team where you can plug into their systems and get help when you need it. Right. Sounds like that's been a good resource for you.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Awesome. All righty, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys being on today. Anything you guys want to promote, I'll make sure to add you guys' social media links in the YouTube description and the podcast description. Anything else like we should go check out, a website or a social media channel that you want to send people to, or anything else before we wrap up here?
Not that I can think of, really. Just go add us on Facebook. Let's be Facebook friends.
Yeah,
let's connect. Absolutely.
Definitely. Like add me on Facebook. I'll add you. Like if you have any questions, go in my DMs. Like I'll try to message you as soon as I can.
Fantastic. Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate so much you guys being on here. I think you're going to be a huge inspiration to a bunch of agents, but especially the young ones who are thinking, is this going to be a good career path for me? What does this look like for starting out? And so I know I've having a ton of fun watching your guys' journey, and I know other people will as well. So thanks for being on here and providing a ton of insight, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.